I told that to Andy when we were first getting started. I'm going to measure our success as farmers by how much vacation we take. And he just laughed at me.
First thing that comes to my mind is just a little aphorism thing that I forget who said it, but when you start small, your mistakes are small. And when we were getting into it, there's this, into farming, and we're farming with draft horses, there's this pretty tight community and network of draft horse farmers. And we got to see people start big and fail spectacularly, and it was really sad. And we started cultivating on like 2 to 3 acres on our first year out of 15 that we could have been trying to scrap something out of. And we've come to a place where we're bigger than we started, but not so big that we've had to burn out or been real tempted to quit. Well, what's your donut do?
I was thinking it's not so different, but adding one function a year.
That was, yeah. Was
and
that a
we've done that with Tilmor too.
Was that a Madersism?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The folks we bought our horses from out of Halfway, Oregon, Deborah and David made, that was one of their bits of advice when you were working with a team of horses, was to add one function a year, and so that you didn't max out or hurt yourself or hurt the horses or just try to get too complex too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Both like a safety thing and just like how much you got to hold in your head.
Yeah, and so when we've transitioned from horses to tractors, that has also remained constant. So, we started with a tine weeder, and then we added the basket weeder, and now this year we're starting to play with the finger weeder. And it will be a really nice integrated toolkit, but it gives us that chance to really learn how a tool functions each year, and budget for that as well. We don't have to buy everything at once, but if we can add one tool a year and learn it, then we can also evaluate, its value in context.
Mm-hmm. And when we're transitioning from one sort of method to another, like we already have ways of doing things that are good enough. Uh-huh. So we don't have to do everything the new way or with the new system. There's a lot of folks with really good intentions and vision and little background who, they see like, oh, this is a great way to do it. I'm going to do all of it like this. But then, there's the even simple things of like, what sort of soil moisture am I gonna prioritize for using this tool? Like, you might clog your basket weeder full of mud and then throw it out and give up. I think there's sort of this mistaken notion that, I'll just get into farming. As if there isn't a huge backlog of things that you will need to have learned to start.
So that's my do. My don't is to add a whole bunch of tools and a whole bunch of functions at once. My do is to add one each season, and that becomes more intricate the longer you've done that. So now that I've been in here 15 years, it's not as evident, like what's the next thing. But it becomes more about finesse and tinkering, and maybe it's something on the wash pack line, maybe it's a new position or employee. It doesn't have to be a tool, but just a farm function that you're adding for constant improvement. And the goal is always to make work easier and more efficient, but also to really value the parts of the job that you enjoy. So you don't have to outsource something if you really like it, if it works for you, but to really target the dreaded jobs, to figure out what that is and how to make it better. And so ours right now is like, how do we really cut down on hand labor? And so that's why we brought in the Tilmor, is to really focus on fine-tuning our field cultivation so that we can do less with hose.
And then we also prioritized getting our weekends back from the farmers market scene, because the farmers market scene took up all of Friday and all of Saturday, and then we would play catch up on Sunday, and then their weekend is gone. And so we've hired a market lead who is here on Friday and packs out on Saturday morning, and we play support as needed. But then we also have more time to tend to those specific things that our other employees can't do, and then also just play, which is super important. Yeah. That's one of Emily's dues. One of her one of her unique sort of things that I hear other people glom onto is prioritizing how much vacation you get to take as a measure of success. And you've stuck to that.
Yeah, I told that to Andy when we were first getting started. I'm going to measure our success as farmers by how much vacation we take, and he just laughed at me. And
I never took any vacation as a kid.
Yeah.
Like we got my family went like a week to Grandma's house, sometimes in the summer.
But he's come around, and it is a big measure of success in that the farm system is stable enough that we cannot be here and it can function. My employees are autonomous beings who know how to make decisions and know how the systems work, and so it's okay to walk away. We take a longer break in winter in February, but then are gone for a full week in July and then long weekends throughout the season. And as our kids get over, that's the new most precious commodity is time with them when they're not in school. So shifting the farm to make that possible. And it's also something that's, I offer my employees too. I get a week off in the summer, but so do they. And everybody gets a 5-day work week. And, we're targeting 35 to 40 hours. There's no glory in anybody putting in a 60-hour work week. That's not tenable for long-term body health, or especially when I'm working with young people who are interested in farming as a career. They need to see that it can be done with some sort of life-work balance. So that's one of the things I feel like it's important for me to model.
Well, it's pretty common for people to beat their chests about their 80-hour work week, and it's a point of pride, right? And I've kind of been there some myself, but
we're trying
it's different. It's like, we got a 10-day trip in July. What do you think about that?
I put in 30 hours, and that's a point of pride, right?
Yeah, we're done at work at 2, and we go to the swimming pool, and not having to worry or feel guilty about that. It's maybe we're patting ourselves on the back a bit, but it's a huge quality of life difference from how we could be doing it. I guess it's another.
I think that earns me a donut.
Totally. And on top of your due, one of our do-don't combos is do work hard, but don't press. Yes.
These or what?
Yes,
Which
but
one
don't.
Are you gonna
but
pick?
don't.
Just the cake.
Don't maximize. You can maximize,
What
right?
kind of jelly is in that one?
You. But we could try to maximize production. We could try to grow fence line to fence line the way that people have been told they should do for so long. But there's a spectrum of productivity, and there's a sweet spot for each place and each family. So not. You want me to stop talking now?
I want you to eat that donut.
But just dialing back a little bit from where your maximum production can be can make a huge difference for morale and the way the whole system feels. And then you can focus a little more on relationships and good deeds, and we had the whole second grade from the College Place district out here for field trips this last week, and we had time for that. don't maximize. It's a crock of shit.
Which one's your favorite kind? Do you have a favorite kind?
I like the ones that are less sweet. So plain cake, old fashioned.
Toby likes the jelly filled.
That's right.
Well, we gotta, 1 to 10 rating.
On deliciousness, rating on deliciousness.
However you want to rate it.
It was
It can be texture, it can be...
a solid 8.5 on mouthfeel, and a 7 on cholesterol.